Well, ladies and gentlemen, to follow up those great speakers is going to be a pretty big feat here. So bear with me. I'm not used to talking to so many people in one room. I am just a humble carpenter and a simple builder, a businessman who's kind of seeing some things that other people might not be picking up on. Now, I was asked to be involved in the March for Australia about 2 weeks before the actual event with guys like Lockie, Dusty up the back of the room there. And there was half a dozen people in the leadership team, and I was asked to be a part of it. Why was I asked? What is it about me? Well, for about 2 years, I'd been making some spicy social media content. So I've got a PowerPoint presentation tonight that's nowhere near as impressive as Shelley's. And I hope you're all a little thick-skinned because my spicy memes may offend. But that might be half the problem we have in Australia at the moment. Taking offence constantly. How do we get here? What is it about our culture that got so degraded that suddenly everybody's offended by everything? What happened? I'll give you a little backstory. I'm not going to bore you for too long. I'm actually much better at 2 to 4 minute reels than long presentations, but we'll give this a shot. Who am I? Simple fella, leading the March for Australia with my rubber chicken. Why did I have a rubber chicken? Don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun. We invited people to come down, bring the families and have a good time. The rubber chicken was my way of having a good time. Did 5 years in the Air Force. I was a scallywag. Got into trouble with the cops, so all sorts of problems. Single mum, raised by a single mum. Really bad environment to grow up in. Military gave me direction, gave me discipline, connected me with people that some of them are in this room tonight that I trust with my life. Businessman. On the left, 2009, 2024. 2009, I felt I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I could take on the world. 16 years later, I'm sitting at it looking, going, what has this government done to us? What has this government done to us? Because in 2009, when I had a client come to me and say, I want to put a granny flat in my backyard, I would have a conversation about what grandma needed. In 2024, I have to have a conversation about whether I can get it approved. And just to top it all off, if you can afford it. Because that approval might cost you 50 grand. How does that make you feel? For stamps on paper. How do we get to a point where your granny flat went from 3 or 4 grand to get stamps to 50 grand? How did that happen? What's going on here? Now, supply and demand, bureaucracy, mass immigration. People go, how do you tie mass immigration into what's going on with the country? Well, the reality is in this country, they're using immigration to prop up a Ponzi GDP number and plastering over our systemic issues in this country by pretending that everything is fine. Everything is fine. There's nothing to see here. You're not going to see the Prime Minister stand in front of you and tell you that 7,000 building companies collapsed in the last 24 months. I'm not going to tell you that. I'll tell you that. So 16 years in business, owner of the QHI Group. I own a building company. How come I haven't gone broke? Well, lucky, maybe it was a bit of foresight, but 10 years ago I got into e-commerce. Started selling building materials online, diversified the company. Thank God. Thank God, or I would be bankrupt today. It's as simple as that. It was only diversification that saved us. Raised by a single mum, 24 schools to finish year 12. What a country we live in. That government pension kept my mum on the move. 24 schools to finish year 12. What hope did I have? Right? On the government tip. My mum just kept moving. Boyfriend to boyfriend, place to place, school to school. And when you're the new kid in the 80s, what happens? You get picked up. You fought your way through school. All the girls wanted to kiss you and all the boys wanted to fight you. Simple as that. Airfield Defence Guard, RAF, 5 years. Now, why did I join the RAF? Walked into recruiting one day. Absolutely gorgeous flight lieutenant in her blues. And that was that. Didn't end up in the army. I was going Air Force. I was going to do something special, airfield defence. I had no idea. Nothing I saw in the video is what I did. It was fun though. Bootstrapped my own companies. Guys, I don't come from money. I don't come from anything. I never met my dad. I couldn't tell you what my cultural bloodline is here. I can't stand in front of you and say I'm 7th or 8th generation Australian. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he wasn't Indian though. I'm not sure where I came from, but I know I'm Australian. Carpenter and licensed builder. Well, I was lucky. I got an adult apprenticeship, became a carpenter. Best thing I ever did. Got a trade. Right, out of the military. Had some really basic building skills and leveraged that into eventually becoming a licensed builder and starting my own company. So what's happening now? 2,000 builders projected to collapse in the next 12 months. Woohoo! Record. Anyone here building a house right now? Yeah, I'd be nervous. 7,000 in the last 24 months. Did everyone know that? Put your hands up if you knew that. Shouldn't that be on the front page of every newspaper right now? Yes. Trades collapsing. 50,000 apprentices quit in the last 12 months. 50,000, right? Out of under 400,000. 360,000 at the moment. 50,000 kids quit. Immigration at record highs to prop up GDP. Well, we're going to touch on that a little further, so give me a chance there. Housing unaffordability by design. Fantastic. Hands up if you own your house. You have a house, right? Your house went up by 10% in the last 12 months. Woohoo! Ripper. We're getting rich. But your kids will never own anything. How did that become the Australian way? Where did that come from? Compliance is punishment, not protection. The complications, layers and bureaucracy involved in me maintaining my builder's license would blow your mind. Blow your mind. And not only that, I'm licensed in 3 states, Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland, and every single state is a disaster. Disaster. Layered in rules destroying everything that's functional. Nothing works. I'm here to tell you. I deal with all of these different government departments, councils, bureaucracy, state, federal. Nothing works except tax collection. That's it. That's the only thing that functions. And shit, they're good at it. Oh, they're good. They're real good. How's that look for GDP growth? How do you reckon? We're doing pretty good? 7,000 companies gone under in the construction industry in the last 2 years. How many suicides? You going to get that data? How many families got ripped apart by the 7,000 construction companies that went under? You're probably all sitting there going, why is he talking about this when it was meant to be March for Australia? Because this is Australia today. This is the country you're living in. And they are lying to you constantly. It's a giant, giant lie. It's a con. It's not working. Some people are doing really well. If you own your property, put your hand up before, yeah, you made 10%. In the last 12 months, fantastic. You're probably going to be able to fund a reasonable retirement. But like a lot of business owners I know, you might be looking to offshore your money because they're coming for it. So what's my why? Does anyone know where this photo was taken? Someone shout it out. Gallipoli. What is it about 1915? We revert back to the Anzac myth, the diggers, right? I'm proud to have served, but I didn't have a glorious military career. And most guys that have been in the military will tell you they're more broken than they probably needed to be coming out the other end of it. But there was something about this story that always stuck with me. Always felt it. Felt a calling. In this country, raised by a single mum and beaten up at school a lot, I still wanted to serve it because I love it. I love it. I love Australia. Can anyone guess the movie? Does anyone know the battle that this film was based around? The neck? No, it was the neck. Yeah, the charge of the neck. For anyone that's not familiar, 7th of August 1915, 4 waves of Australian light horsemen went over the top in an area not much bigger than this room to charge Turkish trenches pointlessly, needlessly. The first wave will cut down in minutes, seconds, literally, metres from the front of the trench. The second wave lined up Victorians, they went over the top and they were literally all mown down. Third wave, West Australians, you're next. The survivors say that not a single man flinched. I got chills thinking about it, I don't know about you guys. By the time the 4th wave went over, the attack was finally cancelled. Half the men had gone, they were dead. 243 men dead in under 30 minutes in an area the size of this room. Think about that. That's the why. I think about those guys a lot. I'm not sure why, because it was over 100 years ago, but I don't take being here for granted. Did you know that in the whole history of this country, since it was colonised 1788, less than 40 million people have been born here? 40 million. That's not much. We have a population of 27 heading into 28 million, and less than 40 million have ever been born on this land. So you're a pretty rare breed if you were born here. So that makes me a bit of a nativist, I guess, and that makes a lot of you guys nativists as well. But I'm also acutely aware that 35% of our population were born in another country. I don't really care what country that is. You came here for a reason. You came here because you wanted to be a part of this legacy. So, here's Australia, the great multicultural paradise that it is. Diversity everywhere you turn, every single flag of the world telling you that you need to share your space with everybody else. Your space, your inherited space, your birthright. Collapsing productivity. Forecasted to grow though if we cut to a 4-day week. How's business owner here going? Holy cow. We just had a productivity roundtable. How's that working out? Now my PowerPoint presentation isn't as impressive as Shelley's, of course, because I do spicy memes, because I make spicy content. I just say it how I see it. I built a bit of a social media following from that, and I kind of enjoyed the process. That's how I ended up here. Coality warns building industry cannot keep pace with building approvals in race to fix housing crisis. Now, Lockie mentioned before, great speech, statesman-like, future leader of this country, I hope. 100-odd thousand homeless people. I could guarantee you it's probably 3 times that. They just don't count them. They're living in their cars. They're raising kids in their cars. If you thought it was bad living as a single mum going to 24 schools, at least I had a roof over my head. These kids don't even have that. Construction sector leads all industries in insolvencies. Productivity is flatlining. We are importing people like crazy while exporting prosperity. Remittances to India last year were $40 billion. We sent $40 billion to India, untaxed. Only 2.3% of immigrants in the last 2 years had any building skills. We're importing skilled migrants, yoga instructors, auctioneers, because, you know, the property bubble and shit. This was a good one. I'm trying to remember what it was. It was something really ridiculous. It wasn't even a trade. It was like some kind of service role. But anyway, you get the point. We've all seen the stories. I reckon there's 3 eyes in this argument. And it was from a story I read that Leif Van Onselen wrote. And I don't know if you guys follow macro business at all. And it was like the 3 eyes, the hierarchy of the eyes, and why he had forecast that the March for Australia was going to be a failure was because we were going to base it around race and identity. And in the hierarchy of eyes, race and identity is at the bottom because that's the worst argument to make. This should be a contest of ideas. What's working, what's not working? It's really simple. Ideas are what we should be talking about. Identity is the bottom of the ladder. It's a dead end. It's a battlefield you will not win this war on. But for some reason, everybody wants to drag it into identity. Why? Because it's their battlefield. It's where they win every single time. It's how they've been killing us for 30 years. It's how they've collapsed the economy. It's how they've undermined everything. And it's where you can't win. You go there to die. It is a dead end. Anyone advocating for white supremacy is going to lose this argument. I know that already. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, people. We have to live with what we've got. And we have to make it work. And we have to be good neighbours with that. So, my idea is let's have ideas. It's pretty simple. It's not hard. Sun Tzu, it's the art of war, guys. We're getting lured into this battlefield to talk about race and identity. Identity politics. No thanks. I'm going to focus on culture. Culture is how we win. We will win this battle with culture. And that's why we fly the Australian flag. And we shouldn't be ashamed of that. I'm glad you have an Australian flag here tonight, Jill. So what is March for Australia? Well, it's not left and right. I met so many people from all sorts of political spectrums in this, crazy whirlwind of the last month. It's Australia versus the administrative state. It's Australians saying, we've had enough. We can't do this anymore. Why mass immigration? Because it is the government's Achilles heel. And it is the idea that will activate everybody to get involved in this fight for their country. It's clarity versus illusion. I've shown you guys the receipts tonight. You can see the collapsing economy. You know it's not right. You're all here because you know it's not right. You're all here because for years we've been looking for political solutions. Your political solution does not exist yet. Your cultural movement has to happen first. The culture transcends the politics. The politics will follow the culture. But you must create the space for the politicians to step into. And in the last couple of weeks, we saw that. Jacinta Price felt confident enough to have a conversation about it, to the point where she had to walk back the comments. She's still got a future, in my opinion. We're all seeing it. What is the point of destroying the people that we hold in esteem? Who benefits from that? Not you. It's our culture going to war against everything that hates us. The list is very long right now. Everywhere you turn, they're trying to tear you apart. My ethos is simple. It's Australia first or it's nothing. I don't care about your lobby group, your interests, your community, organisation. I don't care. I'm past caring. You have shoved your shit in my face for so long that I just don't care. I only care about Australia. Is this decision good for Australia? Was it good for Australia to go to war in Iraq and get involved in 20 years of forever war? Probably not. But there's alliances to keep. There's trade-offs to make. And we were living in a very low-trust society right now because of those decisions that were made. I love spicy memes, so you guys get to see some. It doesn't matter it's Elbow's head. That could be Scott Morrison. Yeah. It could be Malcolm Turnbull. It could be Susan Ley. It doesn't matter. They've sold you out, every single one of them. They've sold you out. The Liberal Party just faced one of its worst defeats ever. Is there any soul searching going on in there? Or are we doubling down on vaginas today? Sorry, ladies. I don't care who I offend. I'm seriously past it. I'm sorry. I don't care what sex you are. It's the best person for the job. That's the way it should be. It's always been that way. The only thing that functions in this country is the ATO. This is me every single day. I'm a businessman. I've got 22 employees. I've got multi-million-dollar companies now. I sit there running through the bills every single week, and the biggest number on that page is the ATO. the ATO, every single week without fail. It didn't used to be like that. They really want that 5 cents. You're $1 trillion in debt. Add in the state debt, 1.4, 1.5 trillion, I believe. Call for death tax to help Australia raise $70 billion ahead of Economic Roundtable. Hang on, we're importing people like crazy to prop up this economy, but we're going to tax you all so we can raise an extra $70 billion because we're broke. We're broke. I hate to tell you guys, but I understand how a balance sheet works. And I can tell you right now, the country's broke. We're broke. Why are we broke? Because we have a shitty tax system. There's no incentives to grow businesses here, and every single business owner I know is offshoring their money right now. They're offshoring like crazy. 115,000 millionaires in Australia are expected to take their money offshore this year. Think about that. How many billions is that? There would be friends in my Indian community that are probably thinking the same thing. Now, this one gets spicy. Okay, more Indians migrated here in the last 5 years than Greeks and Italians in the 100 years previously. This upset a lot of people, but it activated a lot of people too, because the numbers don't lie. This is math, people. It's math. I don't care what skin colour you are. I don't care what your sex is. I don't care about what culture you come from. I care about the math. And the math ain't mathin'. It ain't working. Holy cow, look at that hockey stick. If only my profits look like that.
No, then they tax you.
The DSS, Department of Social Security, said the share of job seeker recipients on the payment for more than 2 years had ballooned from 35% to 53%. Hang on a second. This economic miracle has more unemployed people than we've ever had. What? Sorry, what? What? That math ain't mathin' either. Am I spicy? Am I being too spicy here? We've let in cultures that love to have babies. I'm really proud of you guys for having babies. Fantastic, great. But we've also created a culture of our own Australians that think that girl bossing and having babies in your 40s is normal now. One of the biggest medical industries growing fastest in Australia is IVF treatment. Why? Because all those girls went and had abortions when they were young and stayed on the pill for too long and partied too hard and didn't settle down. Why do we have the rise of NSN in this country? Because we've got a generation of men that think they're toxic white males. They think they're toxic white males. We've got a generation of girls that aren't having babies and no one's having families. What's going on with that? But we're importing people to have families for us, and we need them because we have a plummeting birth rate. Yeah, we have a plummeting birth rate because we don't have any economic opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just bringing the receipts. That's it. The PM, I mean, this is Batuta, right? Have a laugh. I like to have a laugh. I don't take it too seriously. I'm serious about my culture and my country, saving it, but I'm gonna run spicy memes. That's how it's gonna roll. Without more international students, the university Ponzi will collapse, and so too will rents for property investors. Well, look, we want to make money. We've created a housing bubble in this country that is more profitable than investing in businesses. Try as a business owner to go and borrow some money from CBA. Have a shot. But go and borrow some money to buy a house. Holy cow. Here, have some money. Your housing bubble is bigger than the GFC bubble that almost collapsed the American economy. That's a fact. And you've got record company insolvencies. That's a fact. And we're using mass immigration to prop up a GDP number here to pretend that everything is fine. Then we had the revelation a few weeks out from the march that apparently our ethnic friends, people from other cultures and countries, tend to vote in blocks. Well, thinking about that, it's probably true. Probably true.
It is, and we published in the Australian on Friday.
Well, I'm just asking you to think about it. Maybe it's true. Probably is. It was Ben Fordham, loves a headline. Everywhere I turn, everyone else's interests are more important than mine, and I'm a fascist. I'm a fascist.
Get your wars off our shores.
I don't actually jive with being a fascist or a Nazi. I actually jive with being an Australian. And apparently that makes you a fascist. Whoa, that's some mental gymnastics right there, isn't it?
They might shoot you,
I hope not, Dusty. Let's keep it civil, right? But here's the thing, everyone who speaks now is thinking, am I the next one? Am I going to be the first one martyred for Australia? I'd rather not, thank you very much. No Nazis, no fascists. I mean, it takes some pretty significant mental gymnastics to conflate the Aboriginal issue with the Palestinian issue, but for some reason we managed to do that in Australia. Shelley was mentioning to me before over at Stradbroke Island, the Quandamooka event there where they raised 3 flags. Torres Strait Islander, the Aboriginal flag, and the Palestinian flag. Your flag wasn't there. Flag those young boys at the neck were under when they charged over the top of those trenches, wasn't there? Stop being so popular, Nazi. You're a Nazi, you're a Nazi. Let me tell you what happened in the last 3 weeks. I worked out that some people think I'm a Nazi and the Nazis think I'm a lefty. I'm not Nazi enough. You're too far left. This is Australia. I am you, sitting here in the middle, just getting beaten up from every side going, hang on. I've had enough of this. I'm sorry, I'm sick of being the victim.
Centre.
Sorry?
Centre.
Centre, but centre isn't centre anymore. 5 years ago, I was normal. Now I'm a Nazi. So spicy memes. This is what's happening. Thinking is hard. Just do what the government says. Everything is fine. What's some other drama that we can feed you guys today to shut you up and stop you from thinking about it? Now, you beautiful free thinkers here, you wonderful people that got off your ass and came here, and you people that went to the march, I see some of the heads here. So proud of you all. Making an effort. And we all know something. You can feel it. It's just a little tingle at the moment. But we know it's coming. So, how do we put the genie back in the bottle? How do we stop this cultural movement that's unfolding in Australia right now? We can appease more of our ethnic communities. We can beg for their votes. I don't think there's much that Paul Scar wouldn't do for that vote right now. That man would literally sell his mother for that vote. What an absolute POS. This is your leadership in 2025. Let's take this young girl, pretend she's a boy, and make sure she never has babies. Yay for Australia. Larissa Waters. Another POS. But someone's voting for it. Why? Why? She's from Queensland too. Come on, Queenslanders. This one. The Dan Andrews protege, over in Beijing at the moment, making sure her overlords program her correctly for the next round of screwing that the Victorians are about to get. Oh yeah. All right, I've got to wrap it up, but point being here, guys, the point I'm trying to make, March for Australia wasn't just about racism. It's not about that at all. It's not about identity. It's about a movement where Australians have said, we've had enough. And October the 19th, we're going to march again. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite every single one of you to come. Please bring a friend. To my Indian friends, the brown people, my mate Dabu, bring a friend. Bring a friend. If we have problems there, I can assure you that we have Jack's mates and a whole bunch of really good patriots ready to deal with that problem like we dealt with it before. We kept Australians safe. We kept Queenslanders safe. Queensland, you are the beachhead to save Australia. Melbourne is a cesspit. It is going to be a problem. Sydney is a cesspit. It is going to be a problem. But Queensland can save the country. I do believe it. I'll wrap it up with this. We shouldn't march on the 31st. They'll call us Nazis. You all heard that. You did, before, in the weeks before. And some of you still came. And that's why no one will remember your name. Because courageous people built this country and courageous people will take it back. Thank you very much.